Yes, Kenya. Tamu sana, tamu sana, tamu sana, yes. As I talk right now, it's about 5 p.m. in the evening. And from what we are seeing from our screens, demonstrations are still going on in some other parts of the country. In this video, I want to highlight on some observations I've made so far on the demonstrations. The first observation: the demonstrations are happening across the country, including even in areas considered William Ruto strongholds in the Rift Valley and on the mountain. So, in a nutshell, the demonstrations are a success. Kenyans have heeded to Azimio's calls for demonstrations. That's the first observation I've made. The mere fact that Kenyans across the country could take to the streets to demonstrate, that confirms they have heeded to Azimio's calls for demonstrations. And then secondly, William Ruto swore that there will never be demonstrations on a Kenyan soil. William Ruto himself swore. We saw Kithure Kindiki talking tough. There was also Rigathi Gachagua, Moses Kuria, and other top leaders in this government. They swore that there'll never be demonstrations in the country. There were demonstrations in the country. That exposes that Kenyans don't listen to William Ruto. And that goes on again to confirm that Ruto might be a minority president not enjoying that popular support on the ground. The popular support is with Azimio. That also came out very, very clearly. If a president can swear that there will be there will be no demonstrations, and then Kenyans across the country are demonstrating, that's interesting. The third observation: William Ruto is weakening himself because he talks a lot. A president or a person in the stature of a president should not be talking the way William Ruto is doing. Silence sometimes is strength. When you have a leader who just talks aimlessly, then that's a leader with a problem. The mere fact that Ruto swore there will be no demonstrations, and they were, that again confirms that Ruto is losing the presidential powers. His words don't carry that power of a president. And maybe next time, if he warns Kenyans again, or he gives such warnings, he won't be taken seriously. Because after all, Kenyans know that his warnings are just roadside declarations. They don't carry that weight of a president. So to William Ruto, if at all some of his advisors are listening, they should tell William Ruto not to be talking a lot. He should only talk when necessary and when he's very sure of what he's saying. He's weakening himself. Another observation I made: Azimio's new strategy seems to be paying off. Initially, when the demonstration started, it was about Raila Odinga and the top Azimio leaders battling it out with the police. And because these Azimio leaders and their supporters were not armed, eventually it was being seen that the police were winning. Ruto was winning. But the new strategy is about the people versus the police, versus Ruto's government. And in various parts of the country, we are even seeing the police running away. So, in other words, the new strategy is pitting William Ruto against the people. It's no longer about William Ruto versus Raila Odinga or Azimio leaders, but William Ruto versus the people. That's a wonderful strategy. And my honest opinion, Azimio should maintain that strategy. They should not be going on the streets. Let Kenyans themselves go to the streets because it's them who are actually being oppressed. That's also another observation I made. The new strategy seems to be paying off. Azimio is winning here. Another observation, if you look at the motive of the demonstrations, why is it that Azimio prefers demonstrations as opposed to normal political rallies? Demonstrations are very powerful and have the ability to send a very loud message to the government, which normal rallies cannot send. Demonstrations have the ability to paralyze government's operations. And in today's demonstrations that were done across the country, government's operations were paralyzed. The Senate had to be adjourned in the morning for lack of quorum, courtesy to the demonstrations. Public schools, secondary and primary day schools in 3 Kenyan cities, Nairobi, Mombasa, and Kisumu, were closed by the government. Another confirmation that those demonstrations paralyzed government's operations. Businesses could not proceed. Public transport was paralyzed. Across the country, it was not business as usual. Very many towns across the country were ghost towns. So the intended mission of paralyzing government's operations was achieved. The intended mission was achieved. And William Ruto and his team also played into that trap by declaring that the schools had been closed. They did help Azimio in achieving their mission. Another observation I made from what happened yesterday, there were some 2 clips of some Kenya Kwanza supporters taking an oath that they were going to deal with Azimio demonstrators. That video was shared deliberately by William Ruto's team to scare away Azimio's demonstrators. Today, Azimio demonstrators were on the streets. They never allowed themselves to be sold to fear. They were ready for anything. That goes on to confirm that Kenyans are tired, fed up of a William Ruto's presidency. They are ready and willing to do anything in making sure Ruto is kicked out of office. And just as I did explain in our yesterday's analysis, where this thing has reached, if Kenyans retreat, if Azimio retreats, William Ruto is going to turn into a benevolent dictator. There is no turning back on this. Kenyans should just push it to the wall. Let anything that happens. If Kenyans were to retreat, William Ruto is going to oppress them with a lot of impunity. The only way they can stop that oppression is by pushing it to the wall. And it's good they have a leader like Raila Odinga who is actually leading the onslaught. It's now up to the people to take that wonderful opportunity that Raila has given them to fight for themselves. The people must rise to fight for their rights. If they retreat, Ruto will oppress them for the longest time possible. There is no retreat here. as I conclude, from what happened today, I saw Nakuru West Member of Parliament, Arama, holding a gun threatening to shoot his constituents. Though that's going to form our analysis in our subsequent videos, where we are going to dig deep into that. I saw him threatening to shoot Nakuru West constituents. I also saw Malala leading demonstrations in Kakamega, and also in Kamkunji, I saw some goons helping the police to repulse the demonstrators. All those incidences confirmed that it's actually true. William Ruto gave orders to Kenya Kwanza leaders to use goons to thwart Azimio's demonstrations. This is a topic we can talk a whole day. Let me just stop it there for now. If you are watching us but you have not yet subscribed, subscribe. If you want to support our forum, contact me through that number below. Let's meet in our next analysis. Thank you.